Good. And I have turned my camera on, so hopefully people can see me as well. Okay, so thank you very much. Thanks for that introduction, Malcolm. So I'm going to be talking about the work that we did in Kent with our partners on the Live Labs programme. So I'm just trying to do the slides, but somehow that's not working. Okay, there we go. Got it.
Carol, I've shared your slides, and just tell me when you
I can see them. I can see them. Is it all right if I run through them myself? Okay, good. So I hope everyone can see the slides on the screen. So I'm going to talk about our Live Labs programme that we did from 2019 to 2022. As Malcolm already touched on in his opening, this was a part of the ADEPT DFT Smart Places programme. And we did a bid in Kent with our partners, Amy, and we were successful in receiving, as you can see, nearly £2 million. In the previous presentation, Matt mentioned lane rental into something that we know that the government are keen to push forward. We already have a lane rental fund and scheme in Kent, and the excesses of monies that go into that can be bid for innovation. So in addition to the 1.975 million that we received from ADEPT, we also got another 600,000 we were able to leverage in over the life of the project. I've got some different stats here. You can see we had over 15 partners, we had universities involved, we had startups involved, and we ended up delivering somewhere in the region of 15 to 16 individual projects. So some of them were fairly small scale, 16,000 pounds, to sort of bigger works, and I'll talk through those in a moment. Now, interestingly, with Live Labs 1, Live Labs 2, and you're going to hear from Joe in a moment, is very much focused at that laser sharp focus on decarbonisation. Live Labs 1 was much wider. It was looking at innovation in general across highways. So our projects range from sort of data science, intelligent materials, which I'm sure many of you will be interested in, as well as remote highway defect detection. And what Live Labs has done for us in Kent is sort of provided an innovation catalyst. So we've been able to use that work that we did in Live Labs and take that forward into certainly the role that I'm doing now, looking at delivering technology and innovation across Kent County Council highways. Now, before I go into the various trials and that we carried out and programs that we carried out, just wanted to say a little bit about our methodology in delivering the Live Labs program. So we had quite a small project team with me leading on that, and very good and partnering with Amy, but also with a good number of third-party suppliers. And what we did, this wasn't innovation for innovation's sake. It wasn't just let's take, you know, the best part of £2 million and just do whatever we like with it. I carried out quite a bit of stakeholder engagement. We did that as a programme team. And through that, initially when I was looking at the programme, I thought, well, this is really for highway operations, which is where I work. So it was potholes and all of that kind of work, signs and lines, barriers, etc. But as I started to engage with people across highways, it was clear that there was a real appetite for innovation. And so a lot of what we did became much more wide. We covered all parts of what we do in highways and transportation. So from potholes to active travel to public transport, the programme was able to cover quite a lot of what we did. So that stakeholder engagement was really important for us as a project team to understand where do we want to try and innovate and bring better outcomes for the business. So I'm going to run through now some of the trials and census that we did, and I'll tell you whether or not we're carrying on with them or not. So Vivacity, when we started looking at Vivacity back in 2019, it was still fairly new to market. I know that since we've been working with them, that they've become quite well known, and they're doing a fair bit of work across the sector. But the work that we did with them was to really carry out multimodal monitoring of traffic. So the aim was to get install the cameras, and we could pick up before, during and after schemes. And we used this with quite a few of our different parts of business. So active travel, modal shift, safety schemes, junction monitoring. And also certainly our public transport team were able to use that. So we purchased, with the money that we got from Live Labs, 32 of the Vivacity cameras, and we were able to then utilise those cameras on the various schemes that I've just mentioned. What's been good about this particular innovation is that this has now become part of business as usual. So as we purchase the cameras, we still had them. When we move them, obviously there's a cost to move them and to recalibrate them to a different purpose. But this has been something that's now part of our road safety and active travel team. They sort of fund these now and make sure that they can be used around the highways and around the network. So that was a really successful project for us working with Vivacity. The other thing that we did, and Matthew Eglinton touched on road monitoring and road condition systems that have been looked at as a part of the new data standard. Well, we did a trial with Route Reports, and Route Reports again is a remote pothole detection trial. A fairly young company to market based in Ireland. And what we did was we placed the sensors into the highway inspector vehicles. So as they were just going around doing their inspections, they could pick up road defects with the system that was installed in the vehicle. I just heard Abby, one of my colleagues from Medway also, council also installed some of these cameras and devices on their bin lorries. So for us, this has been, I've got to be honest, this has taken a lot longer than we thought. There's been lots of development, and like many of these systems, the system learns. There's machine learning going on all the time, so the system improves the more we use it. So we're still in the process where we're comparing this. We've got some Visala cameras, also sensors also installed in some of our vehicles, and we're doing that side-by-side analysis. So this is still very much a work in progress, but this may well be one of those systems that can be used for road condition monitoring. Our view at the moment is this will be more of a road condition use rather than safety inspections, but time will tell, and no doubt we'll publish. We're certainly happy to share our results as we get more information. The other really exciting piece of work that we carried out through Live Labs was using really high spec cameras with all sorts of functionality on a drone. You can see the picture in here. I've seen that moving. So the drone is basically just the method by which we're able to attach the cameras and then pick up the data. So if you look, if you can see my mouse moving, this is a sort of multiple layers of data that's collected through the kit that's put on the drones. So what we did was this was very much a proof of concept. So back in 2019, 2020, we did a phase 1, and this was funded by our Kent Lane Rental Fund. So we carried out this work over a private area in the Kent County Showground, just to see would it work. Could we put this camera, really high spec, based on sort of NASA research and previously used in the military, would that work in the road environment? Phase 1 showed us it would. We could track over time, over a year. We could see whether or not there was degradation. So we did that, had a report back. It was successful. So we then bid for some more money from the Kent Lane Rental Fund. And this again is a partnership with Amy. You can see here Amy VTOL, as they were called at the time, Collins Aerospace, Aviat Drones, and another local drone company. So that was successful. So we did phase 2. Over, again, open road this time, the A20 near Lenham. And we're particularly looking at road degradation, markings, utility assets and tree canopy coverage. That was successful. Lots of really useful information back to our soft landscape manager. And then we bid for further funding to do phase 3. And we've got that funding, and we're now doing some trials over high-speed roads in the east and west of the county. Once we've finished everything, then we'll be looking at how we make this a part of, well, does it become a part of what we use in the future for road condition monitoring, particularly on high-speed roads, difficult places to reach, tree health, etc. And we'll certainly be sharing that with the industry once the phase 3 is finished, which won't be until probably the end of next year. Drainage, again, I think Matt touched on drainage. We know how important it is, drainage, to our highway network. So we carried out a number of, well, sort of 2 parts of work on drainage. So first of all, we were looking at sensors. So we used different sensors, putting them in the gullies. And we also tried an asset management system. So we put and there's my colleague there, putting some sensors into some gullies. and we carried out an assessment over the best part of a year. And what we got at that time was we didn't feel that any of those sensors were good enough to be used in the field. However, that doesn't mean that we've lost our appetite to see what's happening with sensors. And I guess this is the thing about innovation. Some things work and some things don't. And certainly for us at the time, those sensors didn't work sufficiently for us to use in the real world. We are, however, with our drainage manager, looking at some further sensors now, because we do feel that things have moved on a lot in the last 2 or 3 years. So we're looking at some other trials at the moment. Carbon Tech was the asset management system that we trialled. That's proved to be really successful. We started it in Maidstone. We've got over 220,000 gullies in Kent. So we started in Maidstone, our big county town, then expanded into Gravesham, and we're now using this in most of the county. So this has been a really good way of us being able to look at the system, not just go out and clean every gully on a rotation, but being able to do proper asset management, see where we are in the system, and then only clean those gullies that we need to clean. So that's been really successful and has become business as usual. Just a couple more. So GPAVE, which is materials. So we did a bit of smart material monitoring. So this was using graphene enhanced asphalt with a company called Itacanica. And that beautiful photograph is of where we did the trial in Dartford. So we laid the GPAVE alongside our normal HRA. And we've since carried out another couple of trials across Kent. So this is long term, so the GPAVE should give us much longer lasting surfacing, and we've done some testing with the University of Nottingham, sort of lab testing, sort of to prove the concept. However, we know what funding's like in local authorities at the moment, so we've decided not to add this list of materials to our sort of palette, just due to cost, not because we don't think it's going to work, but just at the moment we've got to make really serious and difficult decisions about where we spend our money. So we'll however still be monitoring this trial site and the other trial sites over the coming years, and who knows if funding becomes available, this may well be something that we use in the future. Biofuels is something else that we tried, again just thinking about the environment. So we're very keen that we were looking at using more sustainable fuels. So we worked with a company called New Era Fuels, and we're now using the fuel in some of our gritters. So this is very much a work in progress and something that we can see a benefit for across our whole fleet, and we'll be trying other things over the next few months and years. And then the final piece I wanted to share is our Highways Asset Data Management System. It's now called Highway Suites, and this is a digital platform. And the purpose of it was really to ingest data. We've all got masses of data in highways, and certainly when I started doing this project and speaking to colleagues, I was actually taken aback at how much data we have in highways, and not just in Kent, we have that everywhere. So the purpose of what's now called Highway Suites was to pull in some of those data sources from our works asset management system. We use Confirm. From our car data, we use Masternaut. From our safety schemes, we use Stats 9, Stats 21, and other types of data, and our tree data, Blue Sky data. So we're bringing all of these into one platform, so we're able to get some insights. So this is all AI, machine learning, etc. So we're able to do that work in the background to then present in a spatial view, as you can see on a map, and people can see what's happening in different parts of the business. It's been mixed in terms of the success. So we've got a couple of areas where this has worked really, really well. And one of them is with our network risk team. The network risk team have been able to put lots of data in and get some really good insights. So much so that now when somebody starts in that team, after they've got their login for the KCC system, they get a login for Highway Suite, so they can use that. Those of you who work in safety schemes will understand that one of the things that members of the public don't like and our elected members don't like is when we say we're only going to do a scheme when we look at the numbers of killed or seriously injured in that area. This gives much more granularity. So when we're working with parish and working with members, we can say these are all the factors that we can take into consideration when we're putting a new scheme and a new safety scheme. Very, very simple way of putting it. It's a lot more complicated, much more complex than that. So this is, again, a couple of images that you can see here. And this is, again, something that's become part of our business as usual. We've recently got funding for this, and which will take us through until 2026, so we can continue to develop the platform. One other successful area has been what we've done with winter. So we've successfully developed a winter page on the platform, and that's we're mainly using it for compliance. So if you can see the sort of green and red lines, these are all our primary sorting routes. The green lines are on a particular given night, all of the every primary route that's been successfully treated, and the red lines are ones that they weren't treated. So it means that the next day or later on in the day, we can look at the map, we can say, has something not been treated, and we can get a gritter out there, or it might just be that the master knot has broken down the system, for example, and we can then get that dealt with. The work that we did around winter on the platform won an award at the Calgary's PIARC Winter Conference last year. So just in terms of what our biggest lessons were, there's lots of them, and hopefully you've got a good picture of what we did during our live labs. But I would say early and ongoing engagement and buying with the business is essential. So any innovation, I'm sure with Live Labs 2 as well, is understanding what's the problem and addressing a real problem. And you've got to do that with the business. You know, my role now in Highways is around innovation and technology, but I don't just sit in a corner and make things up. I'm engaging with the business, and we can find out where there's a need. And once you've got that buy-in, it's much easier to deliver. Strong partnerships and collaboration. We worked with Amy, we worked with third parties, really worked very well. Agile working, as I said, some of the things we did work, some of them didn't work. If they don't work, then you can get up and move along. And then I've just put admin and ongoing cost and system integration. One of the things I'm finding now with some of the systems we've got, everybody wants to sell you a system. Everybody says the data is yours, but without the platform and without what they bring to the party, it's not really much use. So I would just say for us, we're now looking at system integration and how we can reduce those ongoing costs going forward. But it was a great project, and it's been lots and lots of learnings from that. And as you can see, a lot of what we did is now business as usual. So thank you.
Lovely, fantastic, Carol. Thanks for all of that. We'll have some questions for you to follow the next presenter.